This week we are making enchiladas from leftover pulled pork that I made for pulled pork sandwiches last week. And then we are also having a grilled cheese party on Saturday, chili on Sunday, and then the plan is to do like these fun Asian lettuce wraps on kind of sometime between Monday and Wednesday, which is kind of the loose meals day where I'm not as serious. We usually do a lot of leftovers, so I'll be really good about making dinners from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we usually do leftovers or some kind of really easy dinner. I find that chopping the vegetables is really the one thing. If I can tackle that first and foremost, I don't have to really think about the other things as much, because if I can do something one-handed, I'm not too worried about it. The chopping up of things is what takes the most time. As you can see, I'm taking from the classic Rachel Ray advice, using some kind of bowl as a countertop trash can to help keep your space clean. There are so many meal prepping things that I try to do to make sure I am staying on task, keeping things clean, getting things done efficiently while also having kids. And a few of those things is, one, cleaning up as I go. I am not a natural cleaning up as I go person. And then I also like to make sure I have an empty dishwasher when I start and an empty trash can. Are all ways just to, one, help me keep a constant flow and not have to have these interruptions, but then also I am not having this giant mess of dishes and cleanup in the end. I'm a very type B person. It's not my natural inclination to pick up after myself, which I know that sounds bad. Every week I like to have a prepped breakfast, something that I can pull out. I can serve it first thing in the morning. Cottage cheese pancakes, crustless quiche. The quiches always tend to be like my husband's favorite, and then the pancakes are so nice because you can, especially the cottage cheese ones, you can make them super high protein, very nutrient dense, as opposed to making like sugar bombs essentially in the morning. For some reason in my head, I feel like cleaning something up has to be like a big task. At the end of the day, I'll clean up the whole kitchen or I'll deep clean the whole house. The little small tasks where it's like I tend to do everything all at once after it's like gotten super dirty. So I am trying to challenge myself, and that is a really important thing when you are meal prepping. And then it's also super important when you have kids. Days of just spending an entire day being able to clean your house are just gone. I would love to just be able to have somebody take my kids for a day so I could just deep clean my house, because I find that really enjoyable, but those are just not the case anymore. Having a really good set plan when you are meal prepping is also really important. Taking a look at everything that you are making and then trying to look at what those recipes are and how you can batch in those recipes. You have a couple recipes that are using the same vegetable. You can cut up multiples of that vegetable all at once, or cut up all your vegetables at once, and then you can even season your meats and then wrap those up in parchment paper and keep them in your fridge. That way they're pre-seasoned, which actually makes them more flavorful for when you go to cook them later in that week. Marinating your chickens and your beef, all of those things, even just doing something like pre-cooking a meat that doesn't necessarily need to be cooked at the time of when you're making it, a lot of times I make things like quiches. All of those breakfast meats can just be pre-cooked and then pulled out and added to whatever you're making them in. First thing you do is write out what you're making, creating a game plan of what you're going to do and how you're going to make everything. Generally starting with cutting everything up first and then pre-baking anything that needs to be pre-baked, mixing anything that needs to be mixed up. I like to make breaded chicken a lot of times. I'm not doing that this week, but a really good way to save some time is to getting the flour out into a container and seasoning that flour with some salt and pepper, and then just putting the lid on and keeping it in your pantry, smashing up, the cornflakes if that's what you're using, or getting your breadcrumbs made for that. So that way you're not having to do that before you make dinner. You can just pull that out and it's ready to go. I have been working very intently on my knife skills, so if anybody has any advice or videos or somewhere where I can learn it, I've been watching Gordon Ramsay's Ultimate Cookery course, and I have actually been learning a lot from it. And I know a lot of it is partially I don't have great knives, and the other part is you have to get that technique down and start slow. I really am working on that and trying to be more conscious of it, and I do think I'm getting a little bit better, but it's still super difficult. Maybe I can set this right here. Little microphone stand. I'm sure this looks really nice. Cooked breakfasts have been pulled out of the oven. Quiche looks pretty good. Definitely is going to have a little bit more of like a cheesecake-esque-ness to it because it has the cottage cheese in there. And then this is the pancake. Because I use coconut flour, I usually use oats, like blended oats. But I didn't have oats right now, and I have a bunch of coconut flour that my mom gave to me. It cooks a little differently, but I actually think it's really good because it has a little bit of sweetness from the coconut. Texture is definitely a little bit different. So once all of these cool, I'm going to cut them up and put them in some containers and put them in the fridge. But other than that, I have dinner prepped in the fridge, and then I have a bunch of all those vegetables cut up. And I just have to put some things in the dishwasher. But I think that's going to be all for today because I need to get my 1-year-old up and we need to get out of the house. So that is everything for today's meal prep, and I will see you next week. Bye.